Hello, beautiful people. How we doing? It's good to see y'all. I just realized I forgot to do something. Okay, good. Happy Monday. Go Seahawks. That feels like a very distant memory. Be perfectly honest with you. It feels like it happened a really, really, really long time ago. But it was just yesterday that happened. It really did happen. I'm still surprised by that outcome. Pleasantly pleased. Yeah, there's a lot going on. It has been a very eventful day, and I have been all over it. All over it all day, reading all the things, dockets going, statements going, posturing going, lawmakers going. But it is good to see you all. Hit the like button, share the live. Shout out to everybody who's watching, wherever you are watching in the world. I hope that you are safe. Okay. Take a couple deep breaths and, take a moment for yourself. It's rough out here. It's rough out here. But shout out to all of you. Shout out to all the members and supporters and subscribers in all of the places. Yeah, I hope that folks are staying safe and staying warm and, staying safe and staying warm. That's pretty much all we can even hope to ask for right now is just safe and warm. Yeah. We are on the 355th day of January, 2026. Yeah, the 355th day. Don't forget to switch from top chat to live chat to catch all the goodness happening in the chat. You're a soldier. You're a soldier. I saw plenty of videos and posts about heart attack dangers and shoveling snow. I was like, you know what? I don't have the capacity for this. I really don't. Remember to hit the like button on your way in, please, and thank you. So, yeah. I thought it was gonna be an eventful day, and boy, howdy. It has been an eventful day. The day started, okay, that's Keith Ellison in the suit, in case you're not familiar with him. He's the state attorney general for Minnesota. Been around for a long time. You've probably seen him in press conferences, but he's got more facial hair. He's older than this picture, and he's been in plain clothes a lot lately too. So, but that's who that is. And of course, Alex Pretti. So the day started this morning with a hearing on a previous lawsuit that the state had filed against ICE, etc. And that was over an hour long of the state trying to convince the court that they need to step in and do something about the ICE deployment. The judge was extremely skeptical of her ability to be able to do that. And I personally, based on the live blog that I was following, this is federal court, so there was no call in for audio. It's not recorded for us to be able to hear or see. But based on the live news blog that I was watching, I felt like the arguments I'm not a lawyer, okay, but I felt like the arguments got off track because the arguments became one of values, the federal government's values and the state's values in terms of immigration enforcement. And the judge saying, "I'm not about to try and control the values of the federal government." There were several attorneys that were arguing this case on behalf of the state, and I believe a few local municipalities as well. It may have been state and a couple cities, but at any rate, there were a couple attorneys that were arguing this. So I'm just saying that he's AG, not necessarily fully putting this on him. There were several attorneys, but um, I just didn't feel like they brought it back to where the focus needed to be. However, that wasn't their only argument. Their only argument, I mean, their other argument aside from this is excessive and, an invasion and they're out of control and you need to do something. Their other argument was this isn't even about immigration. This is about retribution, political retribution against our state. And they have strong evidence to suggest that. And so the judge ordered the government to respond to that in writing, and they have until 6 p.m. on Wednesday, which, if you ask me, is too long, but it's one less thing for them to be able to appeal about. So there's that. Um, and she did ask the government some hard questions, but I just don't feel like the state really hit the hammer hit the nail with the hammer. So that's how the day started with me fully unimpressed. And then, there are several reputable news agencies that run live blogs throughout the day. And the more that is going on and the more controversial it is, the more of them who do it and the more updates there are throughout the day on whatever is happening with the administration. So, fairly early on in the morning, we saw a news alert. We were talking about this in the Discord. We saw a news alert that said Tom Homan is being dispatched to the state. And one of the looters said, "Oh, that's not good." And my response was, "This may be cover to withdraw ICE from the state or from the city, but it's cover for something." And then within a couple hours after that, we found out Gestapo Greg, as the governor of California likes to call him, and his squad, not just him, but a very specific group of agents, his little personal goon squad. We could assume some of the most aggressive individuals are all leaving the state as of tomorrow. If you ask me, they're probably already gone. That's just my opinion, but maybe not. I don't know. But as of tomorrow, they will be gone from the state, not to return. That man was an instigator and a provocateur. Gestapo Greg. So the very fact that he and a group of agents are leaving means technically and officially that ICE is starting to be pulled out. And I think that we're likely to see more of that. And I do think that Tom Homan being brought in is cover for that. So they're all still posturing, chest feathers out, trying to, show strength, but they are folding all over this issue. Case in point. The Deputy Attorney General said today that when the government labeled Alex Pretti a domestic terrorist, they weren't being literal. I don't think anybody was being literal about that. So when Kristi Noem, KKK Caroline is separate, she's the White House. When Kristi Noem stands up and says he was a domestic terrorist, now you've got the Deputy Attorney General for the United States of America saying, well, I mean, that wasn't literal, obviously. And so then very shortly after, there have been other people in powerful positions who have also, without naming her, directly contradicted things that Kristi Noem said. So then within 45 minutes to an hour on all the blogs was the same thing. What's the president's confidence in Kristi Noem? The president has nothing but the utmost confidence. Sure he does. Sure, Jan. Sure, KKK Caroline. Sure he does. That's what he says before he fires anybody, number one. So we can't take that at face value. But number two, KKK Caroline is, KKK Kristi, sorry. KKK Kristi is nothing but a puppet for the administration. Somebody called her a twatsie. Kristi Noem. Somebody called Kristi Noem a twatsie. So yeah, they're asking, so what's the president's confidence in Kristi Noem? Utmost confidence. Utmost confidence. Sure. That's why all of a sudden everybody's backpedaling. They asked Gestapo Greg, so was he armed when he was shot? And he was like, this is why we have investigations. This is why, to determine all of the facts. I didn't come up with it. Somebody else came up with it. It's in the comment section. One of the lives. So Greg Bovino is a criminal. Just a horrible, horrible person. So yes, but not only did he come out and say this, he came out on MAGA's biggest platform at their peak viewing hour and said it on Fox and Friends this morning. I don't think that was a literal statement that he's actually a domestic terrorist. I mean, clearly that wasn't a literal statement. Backflip. Okay, backflip. There will be an oversight hearing. Rand Paul, chairman of Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee, is bringing ICE, Border Patrol, and U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services before his committee to testify. Kristi Noem is also being called by Republicans to testify in March. So they're slow walking some things, but they're calendaring them. Rand Paul is so annoying. That's all I have to say about him. That dude is so annoying. And then we talked about this for several days, and we're going to continue to talk about it. I did a scripted video about the 7 Democrats in the House who voted to push forth the spending bill with $10 billion earmarked for ICE. Also, backflipping. This is the second of the 7 that I've seen. Maybe more of them have also spoken out, but the one from my state, she said something, and I really wanted to send her a message, but I demurred and opted not to. I didn't have anything nice to say. And then another one, dude out of New York was like, I didn't consider see, what had happened was I just wanna explain. So when I cast the vote to go ahead and, vote yes on all of that, it hadn't really crossed my mind that a no vote was actually a referendum on the tactics of ICE. It didn't even cross my mind. That's bullshit. Either that's bullshit or you don't listen to your constituents. You don't watch the news. You have no social media team that has a presence as a part of your communication squad who's communicating back to you ahead of time because don't think there weren't people advocating, don't do this. There's always a constituency group advocating for votes. But it didn't occur to me that a no vote actually meant something against ICE. And I'm so sorry for that, basically. I'm so sorry for that. It did not occur to me. Obviously, if I would have, if that would have come up, I would have definitely voted the other way. Okay. Sure, buddy. Sure, pal. Yeah, so Democratic Representative Tom Suozzi is expressing regret for his vote to fund the Department of Homeland Security last week in the wake of the second fatal shooting by a federal agent in Minneapolis. Quote, I failed to view this DHS funding vote as a referendum on the illegal and immoral conduct of ICE in Minneapolis. I hear the anger from my constituents, and I take responsibility for that. I have long been critical of ICE's unlawful behavior, and I must do a better job demonstrating that. End quote. That is a get on your knees and kiss your constituency's ass statement as far as politics goes. Okay. Okay. Oh, the North remembers. Shout out to everybody who's watching. Hit the like button to share the live. So, then today, we also had the case that we've been talking about a great deal here. There was a hearing on local law enforcement via ICE, etc. Okay? And this is a great, I believe this is from the New York Times. This is a great summary of either side. Okay? So this is the BCA, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, and the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, the prosecutor, right? Filed a lawsuit and for injunctive relief against the feds to preserve and access evidence. That's what this is. They had a hearing today at 2:00. A lawyer for the Minnesota Attorney General in a hearing on preservation of evidence pointed to serious irregularities in the procedure by federal agents after killing Alex Pretti. Those included denying local police access to the shooting scene and physical evidence. The lawyer, Peter Farrell, also noted that the investigation is being led by the agency that the shooters work for and not the FBI, and cited the swift rush to judgment by federal officials. A Trump administration lawyer told a federal judge that state authorities don't have a right to investigate the shooting. This whole event rose out of a federal immigration matter, was conducted by federal officers doing their federal duty, and the aftermath, whatever happened, is a federal matter. That basically sums up both sides. Okay. There are some supplementals that the judge wants in writing, and then the judge will make a decision about whether or not to keep grant uh keep the TRO in place and or grant injunctive relief to the state and the county. But yes, they have no legal right to investigate a crime or an incident, period, if it involves the feds. That's the government's argument. They don't always fare very well when they go, and I saw that they filed a brief. They did file a brief on this by deadline today. I didn't read it because I was like, things are moving so fast. There's gonna be a decision, then it's gonna be appealed. So let me just see like where it shakes out at the end of the day. Um, I'm sure they cite case law and blah 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 blah. We've seen enough, even in civil cases. Drake's lawsuit is a classic example. We've seen how Drake's lawyers use case law, right? They are the best cherry pickers. The best cherry pickers or the worst, because then their opposition counsel is like, okay, those words are in that citation, but that's not what it says, basically. So the government does that a lot too. Okay, technically those words are in your citation, but that's not what it says. Right. So I just imagine there is a lot of that in their argument. But when they tend to go to the most drastic kind of all or nothing argument, they don't always fare successfully in that. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. So I don't know. It's anybody's freaking call. But as I said yesterday, for funsies in my head, I think state and local officials are going to be, successful in their attempts to preserve and get access to. The other bit of information that has come out is that um, the only investigation that is being done right now at the federal level is a use of force investigation. There's no criminal investigation happening. They are simply determining whether or not the agent followed training and protocol. That's it. So I have no doubt that the state is going to, you know, put that on the docket um, as a clarification. The FBI is not doing an investigation. They assert that the photo of the gun is the gun. They say that the photo was taken, that the gun was in a vehicle on the back seat when the photo was taken. So that would suggest, I don't believe that they outright denied that this is some photo from Reddit that they lifted off the internet, but they said the photo is the photo of the gun and that that photo was taken when the gun was sitting in the back of a law enforcement vehicle. They said the FBI were the ones, it's just so convoluted. They said that the FBI were the ones that were in charge of gathering the evidence, which I don't necessarily believe because the FBI travels with things then to preserve evidence. But whatever. But then the FBI is not the one doing the investigation. So, per as usual, the government shit is contradictory, convoluted, and confusing. So, we'll see what happens with that. And then one of the things that we learned today is that there is body cam footage from the shooting. And no doubt the government is going to try and keep that out of people's eyes forever. Um, and so the fight begins. I mean, there hasn't necessarily been people are drafting their shit now. Okay, they're drafting that shit now, which is interesting, and we're gonna talk about a different video with a different shooting, uh, in a second. But, yes, we learned today that body cam footage does exist. I put this in here because this is, to me, another indicator of the backpedaling. Ban this dumbass person. Assalamu alaikum. Um, I put this in here because this is another bend the knee indicator for me, because KKK Caroline Levitt is nothing if not adept at not answering the question. And I was shocked when she answered the question. Caroline Levitt was asked in her press briefing today, point blank, "Can Americans film ICE agents?" And she said yes. Oh, they're gonna keep shooting people. What do you think, I have faith in the system? That's a misinterpretation of this channel and me. Um, I've been surprised at what backpedaling looks like, I guess. Um, because 'cause we're in uncharted territory, right? So, we've never seen, the federal government just come out and now, I'm not saying that we've never seen them lie about things, right? We usually get the evidence and proof of that way after the fact. This is different because we are in the age of the internet, and everybody saw it, just like everybody saw Renee Good. And so we've never been in a situation before where the federal government has just come out and just blatantly lied to people's faces, taken evidence, covered stuff up, declared people innocent, declared no crime here, fired or pressured people to resign from their prosecutorial jobs, because they won't, because the Fed leadership refuses to do a fair and impartial investigation of the situation. We're in uncharted territory. So I'm surprised at what it looks like, but based on the kind of right side of the aisle pressure that they've gotten in the past 36 hours, I'm not surprised that they're backpedaling. The NRA told them, "I know you fucking lying." That we're in uncharted territory when the NRA is like, "I know you fucking lying." He was a domestic terrorist. Well, he worked for the federal government. He worked at the VA. How do you explain that? How do you explain that? Why'd you employ a domestic terrorist for so long? Where is his file? What you know about him? Nothing, because he's not a domestic terrorist. He was just a good person, exercising multiple constitutional rights. Can Americans film ICE? Yes. So, another video. Y'all remember her? Remember this woman who they shot 5 times? This was last year. Said she attacked ICE, but it was on video and there were a lot of witnesses. Remember that? Yeah. So there's more video footage. Thus far, the court has kept it under seal. The press, just days before the Alex Pretti situation happened, all major news outlets trying to get this video of this particular shooting, very specific video, her video that she took, is under seal. They've been trying to get it, they've been denied. She just came onto the docket today. Her case has since been dismissed. They charged her with felony crimes, lied about everything. Lied about everything. I think they said she had a gun. I think that it was like one of those like trifectas. She had a gun. She tried to hit us with her car. She blah, 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 blah. Literally the exact opposite is what happened. They wound up voluntarily dropping the case against her, but critical evidence still remains under seal. The court has been kind of stubborn about releasing it. Well, she hit the docket today and said, for the good of America, this is a matter of public interest and public concern. It gives insight into the tactics, not just how they shot me, why they shot me, but everything they did after that. The lying about me, smearing me in the media, charging me with crimes I did not commit. Look at what they're doing. They've killed at least 2 other people. So I hope that she is successful. And I think on the argument of a matter of public interest, the law is overwhelmingly in her favor, especially since the case is over. The law is overwhelmingly in her favor, and I think it's only a matter of time. I think it's only a matter of time, but big ups to her for saying, "Well, given what's happened since what happened to me last year, this is information that needs to be before the American public." Bravo. Bravo, bravo, bravo. I'm not even gonna answer that question, respectfully. I'm not gonna put that in my body. I'm a parent too of a of Black children, one of them who's already dead to medical racism. So I'm not gonna put that in my body. And also, how dare I? Actually posted a link in the Discord today to an official tracker by a nonprofit organization. Um so depending on the circumstances is depending on what the number is. Shootings, in custody deaths, at the hands of all different language meaning different things. Well, the GOP, as I said yesterday, the GOP is very adept at public posturing, but It's plain as day for everybody to see behind closed doors. And behind closed doors, they know they need to do something about this. Nobody even takes people seriously when they try and defend the ICE agent. It's like, "You're absurd. You're absurd. I don't believe you. I don't believe you, and I'm not gonna engage with you on it. If you're gonna say dumb shit like that, conversation over." So, it's pretty plain as day. CYA is still their priority, but so is cleanup on aisle 3. So is cleanup on aisle 3, 4, 5, and 6. 7's kinda fucked up too. They're gonna have to come up with something else because people are not gonna go for Gregory Bovino walking down the streets of their city with his fist or his salute in the air, talking about, "Get out of the way. You move onto the sidewalk." Fuck you and your little dick. You give people with little dicks a bad name, a really bad name. Babe, who are you talking to? Hmm? Are you talking to me? All right, cool. First of all, I'm standing up for the Little Dick Guild, okay? I'm standing up for the Little Dick Guild. I'm saying gives them a bad name. Oh, good Lord Almighty, I could not agree with you more. I could not agree with you more on both counts. The US government needs age and term limits yesterday. Yesterday. Strap on them knee pads, get to work because we haven't forced the issue as an electorate. That's why. And because for a huge portion of history, age equates to wisdom, like it's a one to one, right? The older you get, the wiser you get, not accounting for often the crazier you get, or the more senile you get, or the more out of touch you get. Don't get me started on the fucking Constitution. Don't even get me started. That shit is so outdated. It's enraging. I mean, considering it's supposed to be done every 19 years. Ugh, it's so despicable. Here's one of the things that I forgot to put in this this here little update slideshow. And actually one of the most shocking things to happen today. I can't believe I forgot to put it in here. But this really floored me, okay? I was devastated. You know, just like, it was one of those like, moments. I was devastated a couple weeks ago when Tim Walz held a press conference and stood up and said, I am suspending my campaign for reelection of governor of Minnesota. I just thought, I mean, I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not a part of the fan club, but he's a good governor. You know, he's really good as governors go. And he has a really big heart and people like him, you know? So that's great. Is government is always messed up, but I think, you know, you can count yourself as one of the lucky ones if he is your governor. But he basically said all of the chaos that has been injected into politics, I can't focus on a campaign. I have to be vigilant as governor. I have to show up every day and do my job. I can't go off and do a fundraiser and make phone calls. There is no time for that. He doesn't really cuss, but he basically said, "All this bullshit, I don't have time for a campaign." And in the moment that he stood up and said that, I thought to myself, "Can you write in on the ballot in Minnesota? Because if you can write in a candidate on the ballot in Minnesota, the governorship is a wrap." That would make me write him in as my candidate for governor on the ballot. Because he was just so frank and just so like, I literally don't have time for this. Today, the front running Republican who should now have an advantage to become governor, right? In theory, the leading Democrat just bailed. You should have a shot. You know, your chances should increase. You're the front runner. Dropped out of the race. He posted an 11-minute video and unequivocally, this is the Republican front runner. Unequivocally said, I can't be a Republican. I cannot be a part of this party. This, my words, right? This ICE shit, I can't be a Republican. Just 11 minutes of no, 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 no. Nope, I can't be a Republican governor because of this shit right here. There's ain't no way. This is one of the, you know, he looks like he's younger, square version, more hair than the little thinner than Tim Walz. I mean, they're both just square. And here's the, you know, Republican square who's like, no, I can't do it. They're targeting people of color. They're targeting law enforcement of color. They're killing people. And this is the Republican Party. I can't be a Republican and be your governor. Ain't no way. So then I was like, immediately went to Google and was like, I need the Secretary of State in Minnesota. Who the fuck is going to be governor of Minnesota? Both of the leading candidates have bailed. And that's when I looked. So, yes, you can write in a candidate for governor in the state of Minnesota. There is a little caveat that would help, avert a lengthy legal fight. Probably there probably still would be a legal fight, but it would be really lengthy. The caveat is that if an individual believes just through their social life, right, that they are going to become a write-in candidate, they should send a letter to the Secretary of State basically saying that they would accept any vote. Right. So I'm looking at again, this is unprecedented. I can't be a Republican governor. Oh, God. Go apologize to your mother upstairs because you're in the basement right now with your pocket pussy. Go apologize to your mother for being a pathetic disappointment. Okay? All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Boo. Lame. Boo. Boo. Lame. Boo. Yeah, so but I get it. I understand that they're all like, this is who's going to be the next governor? Problem for another day. I get that too, and I give Walz mad props for saying, because I've been around a campaign or two in my day, and it does take a ridiculous amount of time, and there are just reaching out to people, door knocking, phone calls, raising money, it takes you away from your job. They're dealing with this, $250 million fraud situation that the feds say was caused by Somalis, but was really run by a white woman. All of the vitriol that has been brought up about that. He was like, I'm busy flanking the state. I don't have time to make phone calls asking people for money. I was like, oh my God, this is the realest shit ever. The realest shit. I would vote for him. That would be, I'm done. I don't care who else steps up and is like, all right, I'm announcing that I don't give a shit. That's my guy. Priorities on lock. That's my dude. I not in my lifetime. I've seen candidates suspend their campaigns for all sorts of, tragedies, usually temporary. Here's the other thing is he could reinstate his campaign, right? In between now and, when there's deadlines for things, you have to file blah, 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 the 120 days before, whatever the things are, the procedural things, right? There's nothing precluding him from deciding at some point in time, if it aligns procedurally. Okay, I guess I'm restarting my campaign. I'm still not calling people for money. You know who I am. I'm technically running for governor. Like, I could see that happening. I could, depending on how long it takes for these things to, come to a better resolution in the state. I could that could happen. But I was sold the minute he said, I don't have time for this shit. I'm busy doing my job on behalf of Minnesotans. I was like, oh, fuck. I'd vote for you immediately. And I could see my governor doing the exact same thing. Bob Ferguson is no fucking joke. And he's a nerd and he's a lawyer. And he was our state attorney general, and he spent a good portion of his career suing the shit out of the Trump administration. We were successful in a lot of instances and set a lot of good precedent for the United States of America. Oh, thank you, beautiful. I appreciate you. I can see him doing the same thing. Like, I love being governor. I do not have time for a campaign. People would be like, "That's our dude." That's our dude. So, yeah, but, a problem for another day. I get it. A problem for another day. But I still think one of the more shocking developments of this situation, and I am sure that Tim Walz has people around him who are like, even when he told them, Alex just put something interesting in the Discord. Even when he probably told people on his team, we're going to have to shut this down. I know, because I've been there. I know that there were people that maybe didn't say anything out loud at the time, but just swallowed it and said, okay, we get it, we understand. But we're really thinking in their heads, we'll revisit this in 60 days. Huh. This didn't get any coverage whatsoever that I saw. Thank you, Alex. The Law Enforcement Labor Services, Minnesota's largest public safety labor union, is calling on federal, state, and local officials to convene an emergency summit to establish clear, coordinated policies for immigration enforcement and detainers in Minnesota. The summit should include leadership from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Minnesota's Department of Corrections and Public Safety, the Minnesota Chiefs of Police Association, the Minnesota Sheriff's Association, state and local elected officials, and public safety labor organizations. Their executive director said the lack of clarity, cooperation, communication, and coordination between federal, state, and local government is unsustainable. Conflicting directives are creating confusion for local law enforcement officers, eroding public trust, and straining public safety. Remember what I said yesterday about local law enforcement knows that at the end of the day, they're the ones left holding the bag, the emotional bag, the physical bag. Eroding public trust and straining public safety. While immigration enforcement is a federal responsibility, its impact is felt daily by state and local agencies and the citizens of Minnesota. When leadership fails to align, frontline officers are left to manage the consequences. They deserve clarity, consistency, and leadership. End quote. Prior to recent events, Minnesota state and local law enforcement agencies maintained a separate but professional working relationship with ICE and the U.S. Border Patrol. The union believes it is important to restore a functional relationship that respects each other's distinct roles and responsibilities while promoting cooperation, mutual respect, trust, and effective communication that supports public safety. The union is calling for immediate action to establish a unifying framework that, one, clearly defines federal, state, and local public safety roles. Two, provides consistent lawful guidance to public safety professionals. Three, protects constitutional rights while prioritizing community safety. And four, eliminates confusion that undermines effective policing and public confidence. The union believes a federal state summit is long overdue and necessary to restore consistency, community safety, and public trust. Minnesota's public safety professionals and communities deserve a transparent, coordinated approach that allows everyone to move forward. Law Enforcement Labor Services is Montana's largest public safety labor union, representing more than 8,000 law enforcement officers and public safety professionals statewide. I think that was an exceptionally well-crafted statement. That is one of the most direct and neutral, down the middle of the line statements throughout this entire scenario, particularly by any entity related to law enforcement. That shit is neutral, straight down the line. Do I think it contributed to it? Yeah, for sure. For sure, I think it contributed to it. But I think everything has contributed to it. And there are a lot of things that we cannot see that are contributing to it. There's a lot of pressure that is being exerted on the right that we cannot see. But everything is a contributing factor. Everything. And the feds try to move away from anything that locks them into, a precedent-setting court ruling. So, I think it's everything. Everything. I wouldn't weight it. Well, as a standalone thing, I wouldn't necessarily weight it any heavier than anything else, but as a threshold being crossed, I weight it pretty heavily. That law enforcement is suing federal law enforcement for obstruction of justice, basically. That's pretty heavy. I do remember Howard Dean and his "Yeah," and that was it. That was it for his campaign, and it was known in the moment that that was it. There was no question. There was no, like, pause. Was that weird? It was immediate. That was a live televised event. It was too easy of a target to make fun of. It's that simple. It's like when Dan Quayle didn't know how to spell potato or broccoli or whatever the fuck it was. It's just a big old target. It's too big. It's too big. And the media, particularly back then, it still happens, but now that social media is in on it, it's a little bit different now. But back then, the media really loved to make fun of the awkwardness of politicians. And people took it as cringe, and that was enough. But he went on to have a very successful career in the Democratic Party and the DNC. So, he had a strong behind the scenes rebound. It's just like when people found out that John Edwards was getting on a private jet for $1,500 haircuts. That was it for him. People were like, "Well, nothing says out of touch than getting on a private jet to go get a $1,500 haircut." It's a no on you, buddy. Demetrius says, that was the first thing I ever learned about Dan Quayle. See? You see how hard it stuck? You see how hard it stuck? Real hard. Oh, that happened too. That happened too. That was another reason people were like, we're disgusted with you. You get $1,500 haircuts and you cheated on your dying wife. Let me not downplay that. Thank you. Oh, God. This was an amazing time to be alive. This was an amazing time to be alive. If you're looking for a show to watch, just new, go watch Murphy Brown. It's one of the best television shows ever produced. Great series. Absolutely fantastic series. Yeah. Elected officials really did go after Murphy Brown for it's one of the most popular shows on television during its heyday. And this is, before cable was a big thing. So everybody in America is watching the same 4 channels, right? So your television evening television shows are pulling numbers. So it was one of those shows. And she had a baby. She wasn't married, and she was a career woman. She had a baby and she wasn't married, and it was like Tipper Gore going after NWA the way they went after Murphy Brown. Yeah, it was a national discussion. It was a national discussion. She had a baby and she wasn't married. Mhm. And didn't wanna. They went after her like Tipper Gore went after NWA and 2 Live Crew. It was crazy. Oh, what a time to be alive that was. Yeah, what a time to be alive. Yep, that's all it took. Well, first of all, they already hated her. Okay, they already hated her because she was a successful career woman with sex partners. Mhm, mhm. Now, this is network television, so it's not like we saw any it's not like Sex in the City. Uh, she was a fully mature woman. Um, but so they already hated her because she was an independent career woman, and then she got pregnant, and then she had a baby, and then there was a baby, and there was no husband. And conservatives were fucking livid. The number of complaints that came in for that show and the indecency of it all. There were hearings. Mhm. It was on the evening news. They were talking about it on talk shows. It was everywhere for a minute. It wasn't a quick thing. It was like Ellen. That was another TV moment where conservatives were like, the indecency. What about the children? What is this encouraging in our society? It's immoral. What about the American family? Oh my god, it was so dramatic. Huh, that was a moment. Oh, yeah, she was white. Um, yeah, I was a kid too. I was a kid. LA Law, Murphy Brown, Designing Women. I was a kid. Golden Girls. Oh, yeah. I was a kid. I was born in 77. But like you said, it was on. I watched it. I just remember her hair and her outfits. They didn't like her voice. I just remember she was funny. Yeah, Murphy Brown was she was an it woman. That was the thing. She wasn't a girl. She was a woman. Oh, God, the good old days. I don't even know. I'm gonna say 25 years ago. Let's see if I'm right. 2004. Somebody else can do the math. Okay, so I'm not bad. I was close. Golden Girls was progressive. Three's Company was progressive. Like all of it was progressive. I Dream of Jeannie was progressive. Like, give me a break. She had to do bad bitch. Still a bad bitch. The Nanny. Yeah. It took me a while to get into it, but I did. I developed an appreciation for it for sure. Designing Women, just another fantastic fucking television show. Hell Dynasty was great TV. It really was. The power suits and the shoulder pads. Everything. Oh my god. The original Night Court. That was exceptional television. Coach. I absolutely loved Coach. Loved it. 80s and 90s television was great. It really was. Night Court was so good. It was so, so good. Yeah. I also watched WKRP in Cincinnati. Uh-huh. I watched Chips. Yeah. Three's Company was hilarious television. Really was. I still remember, what was the show that Tom Hanks was on? Like, I consider myself lucky to have been alive when shows like that were on. He had a roommate, and they had to pretend to be women to be in the building that they lived in. Bosom fucking buddies. That show was hilarious. But I really do, like, I count myself Mork and Mindy. The the show with was it John Travolta was on a show about high school kids? I saw that. I mean, just yeah, I count myself lucky to have seen all of those shows, like, when they were on television. Facts of Life, Different Strokes, Hill Street Blues. Yes. Yeah, Tom Hanks, Bosom Buddies. Welcome Back, Kotter. Silver Spoons, yep. Welcome Back, Kotter. Perfect Strangers, also my jam. Oh my god. Perfect Strangers, mwah, mwah. That television show fascinated me. Fascinated me. I was so fascinated by the dynamic of them. They were cousins, I think. Oh my gosh, the characters. Yeah, that was great. Balky? Oh, don't even get me started. Now, no. No. I watched, because 'cause I'm in a, neighboring I'm in a border state, right? So I saw Degrassi, but that was way, 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 way before Wheelchair Jimmy. Murder, She Wrote was another one. Mork and Mindy, oh my god, The Wonder Years was revelatory. The Wonder Years and, what was the show with the character Corky? Patty Lupont played the mom. He had a sister. The Facts of Life and that, Wonder Years, sorry, that was revelatory storytelling to me. Really, like, I hadn't seen anything like it before when it came on. Life goes on. I saw every single episode. I was in love with that show. That was another one where it was revelatory storytelling. I'd never seen anything like it before. I remember when it came on television. I remember when The Wonder Years came on television, like, I remember thinking to myself, like, these are some of the most fascinating family dynamics that never occurred to me at my little age. Again, I was a kid. So, but at my age, it's just like these are fascinating family dynamics. Yeah, The Wonder Years and Life Goes On. Oh, 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 so good. Frasier was another one. Yeah, that was another great moment of television because I watched Cheers because my dad or my brothers, whoever watched it, watched it. So I knew who all the characters were from Cheers. I remember when Woody Harrelson was on Cheers. Um, yeah. Oh my gosh, it was. Moonlighting was really good. Bruce Willis on television was really good. Really, really good. Bless his heart. Me too. I didn't wanna go there. And we've talked about it before. My dad loved Westerns, so I saw plenty of Westerns against, my will. MASH was a household favorite. MASH was a multi-generational household favorite, as was the original Star Trek. Yeah, the original Twilight Zone. That was the first time I saw John Lithgow on television, and I was so concerned about his character because I was really, really young when I saw this episode of the original Twilight Zone, but John Lithgow, I obviously can't remember what the episode is called, but it is a famous episode. It's about a man who's on a plane, and he seems to be the only one who can see that there is a creature outside on the wing of the plane. And the existential meltdown that he has on that plane is an Emmy-worthy performance. And it took me a long time to get over that when I would see him in other things. I don't think it was till Third Rock from the Sun where I was like, "Okay, I can move on from the trauma apparently that I took from that episode of The Twilight Zone. I can move on." But I remember seeing him in Third Rock from the Sun and being like, "What in the whole fuck is acting? What even is it? What even is it?" It's one of the best performances ever. John Lithgow in Third Rock from the Sun is one of the greatest performances ever. It is so brilliantly absurd. Absolutely beautiful. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Chef's Kiss, like, the whole cast is genius. Absolutely genius. That was a delicious season. It was absolutely delicious. Delicious. John Lithgow is an actor, okay? Stage and screen, that man is an actor, and that season was torturously delicious. It just was. I think that that's the best description for that season. It was torturously delicious. He was so good. Incredible. Yeah, he did. I believed him. I believed him. I believed his character. 100%. 100% believed his character. He might have a future. That John Lithgow. He's pretty good. I'm just rounding up here on the updates for the day. Minnesota's police chief is not sorry to see Gestapo Greg is leaving the state. No tears shed. People are asking, is it so the Republican candidate for governor who dropped out, his name is Chris Medell, and they have asked him, "Are you for real?" And he's like, "I'm not joking. I'm done. I'm not joking. I'm done." The president posted something on Truth Social saying that it was a time of reckoning and retribution on the citizens of my state, and I've seen that happen, and I cannot be a part of it, and I can't be a part of a party that's a part of that, told CNN's Aaron Burnett. And he said, "Yeah, I initially supported the idea of getting rid of the worst of the worst. It's gotten to a point where it's just incredibly out of hand." And he said he needed to be able to look his children in the face. That dude's out of there. Greg Bovino and a group of his henchmen are leaving the state. They will not be in charge of ICE in the state starting tomorrow. ICE will still be there. But I believe that, what's his name? Homan? Tom Homan? I believe Tom Homan being dispatched to the state is cover for a significant shift in tactic. And removing Gregory Bovino and his personal band of merry little thugs is part of that. But it's not all of it. I think we will see. This is the opportunity for the government to say, "Actually, you know what? We don't need to be here." Because they're posturing now. First Pam Bondi sent a letter saying, "Give us your voter rolls, give us this, that, and the other," and they were like, "No." And now they're like, "Well, all we want is people who are in custody, who are here and undocumented." And they're like, "Well, we already have an agreement with you to do that." So in the past couple hours, it's become pretty ridiculous what the government is saying that it needs in order to feel confident in dialing back the numbers because they already have those things. But they're posturing so that they can they can give the appearance that they got something in exchange for leaving. Good for them. And that's exactly right because I'm not going to cuss you out. I'm close to it. That I'm not going to cuss you out. This has been a bipartisan effort. So you're welcome to be here if you want to represent fair and impartial facts. If you want to come in and just get your gun off on your partisan attack that has no basis in reality, you're going to get banned off the channel because we don't do that here. And I'm completely disinterested. I find it fucking lazy. And I have a series called The Democrats Suck. So what the fuck is your point? Because that's not what we're talking about. So now that the focus is on you, because you want to commandeer the compensation for your talking points, what, assuming I'm a fucking Democrat? Is that what you're assuming? What the fuck is your point? Do you have one? Do you have a point that makes a material difference to this conversation that we're having? This is a rhetorical question because the answer is no. Comments like this have no material weight on the conversation we are actually having. Do you have anything relevant to say? That's also a rhetorical question. Boardwalk Empire was incredible. Somebody said Malcolm in the Middle. I might have had kids by then. I'm not sure. But I know that it was a beloved show for a lot of people, very beloved. But I missed that wave. It wasn't for me. Now this was my day. This was my day. I was extremely fascinated. I don't think I had seen black twins before this. Yeah, I was fascinated by Sister Sister. It was so fun. Also progressive. It was fun and it was progressive and it had a real purpose in place, for sure. Jackie was everything. Everything. Absolutely everything. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yep. Yeah, I think she is a highly underrated actress, but the culture loves her, which is deserved. But I think she's highly, highly underrated. Moesha, I was kinda in and out, but yeah. Martin, a given. The Fresh Prince, a given. A Different World, that was another show that I was in love with. I loved that show so much. Please, baby, baby, please. I'll never forget that for as long as I live. Never forget that for as long as I live. Yeah, this is the last place you're gonna find somebody defending the fucking Democrats. This is the last one, it's not gonna happen. You know, I just learned this over the weekend. I don't know exactly how I feel about it, but, I'm too tired to care. A Different World is coming back. This could be really interesting. Is it gonna be on Peacock? Fresh Prince was so easy to watch. You wanna talk about a bingeable fucking show. It was so easy to watch. Hey, J. Ray's dad. Hold on a quick second, y'all. My son is watching, so I had a thought he wanted to share. What will I have to re-up on Netflix subs to watch? Sanford and Son, All in the Family. Still really good TV. Still timely. Oh man, The Rockford Files is a classic. Classic. The Junior. Oh, it's gonna be on Netflix. Really? Interesting. Huh. Okay. We'll see. Also a classic. Also a classic. I didn't watch this, but I do know what you're talking about. Also timeless. I Love Lucy, timeless. Wow. That was a time. That was a time. Oh, Magnum PI was peak fucking television. That show was so hilariously great. It was so Chips and Magnum PI. I feel like they were on television in proximity to each other. Yeah. Living Single, peak television. Peak, peak television. I remember that. I remember The Love Boat. I remember Girlfriends, and I remember being completely undone when I realized that the executive producer of Girlfriends was Kelsey Grammer. I was like, "What?" But Girlfriends was one of the first shows where, like, I would call my girlfriends and we would be on the phone watching the episode, or if we couldn't do that for some reason, as soon as the episode was over, we were on the phone talking about it. Girlfriends was a real moment for Black women. A real moment for Black women. I remember Gilligan's Island. I remember The Love Boat. Yeah. Yep. He sure did. He sure did. I would remember being mind blown. I saw Kelsey Grammer. I was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, mind blown. Oh, Quantum Leap. Hilarious. Hilarious show. Oh, The Heat of the Night. Excellent. Excellent television. Yes. So good. Yeah. Facts. Magnum PI. Just great television. Knight Rider. Knight Rider was wow. That was wow. Oh, I definitely watched Saved by the Bell. Oh my god, this was one of my favorite television shows. Silk Stockings, the original, loved it. Loved silk stockings. Miami Vice, definitely. Definitely, definitely. And X-Files, yep, I remember when that came on to television. I remember that. I don't remember the game at all. Not one bit. X-Files was a bi awakening, I think, for a lot of people. Redheads are a doorway. They're a gateway. Prove me wrong. Redheads are a gateway. I stand by what I said. Okay? I do remember soap. Yes, I do remember soap. Uzumaki. Gingers will always catch me in either genders. Jillian Andrews is a whole ass gateway. It's not fair, but it's facts. Still is. Still is. You're not fighting fair. Just walking down the street, okay? Just walking down the street, you have an advantage. It's not fair. Oh my god. Duh, there's been so much television. Mhm. I love this. I love this. The shows that I felt like were the most significant, I definitely made sure that my children had. I remember my son coming to me and telling me that he had decided where he wanted to go to college. And I was like, "Oh, where is that?" He was young. And I was like, "Oh, where do you wanna go?" And he said, "I wanna go to Hillman." And the way my heart broke because I had to look that boy and the recognition in my own mind that I know I have to tell this boy that he can't go. Hillman is not a real place. Yes, I told him about historically Black colleges, but obviously none of them would suffice. Why the fuck would I wanna go to Howard? I wanna go to Hillman. It was I mean, my heart really did break. My heart really broke when he said Hillman. The expression on his face, he was so excited and committed, and I had to look that boy in his big old babies and tell him, "That's not a real place." The worst, worst. Still hurts my heart. Still hurts my heart. Roseanne was a great show, also extremely progressive. Yeah, before she lost her mind and all that, the original iteration of Roseanne, that was another television show that was revelatory for me. Yeah, because I knew people like that, but you didn't show them on TV, you know? Yeah, that was revelatory. Princey, the people say hi. He's like, uh-huh, okay. I guess he just ate. Yeah, it's so crazy how 90210 was edgy television, but it really was. It was very forward and like deal with stuff, not just frivolously exist. For sure. Princey. Hi, BBs. He's like, well, if you're not gonna look at me. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was hilarious to me. That was hilarious. Just funny. Also revelatory. To see Sarah Michelle Gellar, I watched All My Children. I inherited that. But so I watched, All My Children from the age of like 3 on, and Sarah Michelle Gellar was on All My Children. And to see her go from All My Children to Buffy the Vampire Slayer was another what is acting moment for me. What even is acting? That's one of the best parts about rewatching old series is the popular music that you hear in the Peach Pit or, wherever they are. And my children are watching, they can see that. What's the matter with you? Pull yourself together. I was not into I thought that show was dumb. For sure. Exactly. Yeah. I was much more into like, I was an original Unsolved Mysteries. Oh, that was my jammy jam. The original Unsolved Mysteries. Ugh. So you got that, and you got the X-Files. So yeah, Buffy the Vampire Slayer was funny. But it's not something that, you know, I was never a like an avid watcher of it. Tales from the Crypt? Yes. That's the yes. That is a yes. This is true. This is true, yes. Yes, it was. Who said this? Uzumaki. Unsolved Mysteries was dessert in pajamas TV viewing. Yes, it was. So good. Tia Monique, Addams Family. I also watched The Addams Family. Yes. Mhm. Maddie Warhol says, "I was too young for either shows. I think parts of the X-Files were a bit too scary for my young mind." Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because the X-Files, even though it was a drama, right? It was, I think, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. The X-Files was the first show we had that took the subject matter seriously, that portrayed the subject matter seriously versus like Alf, right? Um, and so it was spooky. It was scary for sure. I've never forgotten this episode. There are a couple episodes that I've never forgotten before, but that one was mhm, yep, sold me. Oh, I also watched Ripley's Believe It or Not. Yes. Yes. I don't remember Small Wonder, but I definitely remember Punky Brewster. Yeah. Punky Brewster was I was completely devoted to that show as a little kid, for sure. Oh my god, that would suck, especially as an impressionable child. That would really suck. That would definitely mess with your mind, for sure. I don't remember. That sounds familiar. Oh, Fraggle Rock was the jam. Fraggle Rock was the jam. Mhm. I said what I said. Fraggle Rock was the jam. Yeah, for sure. Well, this has been a nice little trip down memory lane. I don't even know how we got on the subject, but did I ever show my kids somebody asked, "Did I ever show my kids a garb?" I'm not sure if I did or not. Fraggle Rock was my jam. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go. We got through all the updates of today. Hallelujah. Amen. Who, Lord Jesus, as we go into the 3,000th day of January. uh, yeah. Yeah. One day at a time is all we can do. One day at a time. So yeah, y'all have a good night, and I will see you all very soon. Obviously, I'm keeping abreast on all the things, and we'll have updates very soon. Maybe some other dockets that we're paying attention to that have updates later in the week. So we'll be sure to talk about those as well. But it was good to see y'all. Take good care of yourselves this evening, afternoon, morning, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. I'll see you again very soon. Peace.